Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Too Heavy Wrestling Podcast. Today with me, I have Clayton. I, of course, am Randy. I have Eddie, and we have Zach, and we're here to recap Fastlane 2023 with you. Overall, good pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Good pay-per-view? I thought the matches were pretty good.
This is the best pay-per-view of 2023 thus far.
I don't know about that.
I don't agree with that at all.
Clip everything until that point.
It's definitely, there isn't, I would say, just before we get into the match breakdown, if you just took the PLE on a plate, I don't think there's any one specific bad part as it pertains to the wrestlers.
Yes.
That you could point to.
Correct.
And that is what separates it from a Money in the Bank.
I agree.
But I don't, like, for me, and I need to be careful, just for me, while it separates it from like a Money in the Bank, it doesn't move it ahead of like Backlash, in my opinion. Doesn't move it ahead of what was that? No, not Payback. The one in Out of the Country.
Out of Champions.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I would say for what we would consider a filler arc of pay-per-view,
Yeah.
better than what we, because that's it's one of the last pay-per-views before Survivor Series, and we're on the road to Royal Rumble right now.
Yeah, we're going to start hearing more about Royal Rumble probably once Survivor Series is over. We'll get a week or two of the fallout of Survivor Series, and then we'll start hitting Royal Rumble, which will lead to WrestleMania season.
Yeah, we also don't have
Not at all, right?
other than, I guess they consider Crown Jewel because it's.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say everything that we're thinking right now.
Okay.
Everyone, especially in the comment section. How can your name be main event Jey Uso if you're the first match on the card?
I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's just Jey Uso. But I like Jey Uso. Jay's been kind of working really well. Jimmy, though.
You're gonna sit there with full chest and pretend like going out first is essentially not the co-main event.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's well. Okay, no, I will say that actually. Yeah, I will absolutely say that.
Don't put some respect on main event Jey Uso's name.
Look, you still have to be the main event. You can't be he's not co-main event Jey Uso.
He main evented WrestleMania this year. I think he gets to ride that for a little while.
Night one, WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's co-main event of WrestleMania, then technically, right?
No, it was
Of
main event
WrestleMania as a
Night
whole.
One. The main event of WrestleMania Night One.
Okay, so he has that. What else does he have? He has Money in the Bank.
Wait,
Yes,
hold on,
SummerSlam.
I'm sorry, before we go any further, is this the episode where you kind of subtly tell us you're not a fan of Jey Uso?
No, I like Jey Uso. I said I like Jey
Well, then
Uso.
why don't
I
you
just
praise him?
I just don't like the nickname, to be honest.
Moniker.
The moniker, whatever that means. I didn't know what that word meant before he said it. And now I'm sitting here honestly thinking Jimmy's been killing it. I actually like Jimmy's little thing he's doing. So Jimmy's been doing great, but the tag match, let's transition to the opening match.
Yeah.
Quality. Loved it.
Opening match, we have the Judgment Day defending their tag team titles against the unlikely duo of Cody Rhodes and main event Jey Uso. Clayton, thoughts?
The best match of the night, and in my opinion, it's not close.
I would agree with the first part that it was the best match of the night. The other tag match I thought was pretty close, but we can.
I'll explain why.
Yes.
When we get to that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, it had everything that WWE has figured out tag teams. I can't think of a time on regular TV or a PLE that I've seen a bad tag team match. It doesn't matter how much time they're given to work. They have it figured out. It's great. It's awesome. Shock. A big shock, because realistically, I don't, with the exception of one of us, don't really think anybody saw Judgment Day not walking out of there with the titles.
I sure didn't. Eddie was the only one of us that on a fun little pick your winners on a pay-per-view sheet we did. He's the only one who picked Cody and Jay to win.
If we're thinking tag teams right now in the WWE,
Yeah.
really there is no and I hate to say it like this, there is really no competition on Raw for them to get
Not
the titles
really.
taken. So I'm like, okay,
Imperium
they're
is gonna need something to do. Not to cut you off.
no, Imperium does need something to do. At the same time,
Well, they're about to start infeuding, it looks like.
yeah, it looks like they are about to kind of
So we'll see what happens
disperse.
there.
But I thought it led perfectly to something with maybe Solo and Jimmy taking the titles. I thought that made the most sense, and then that transitions to a feud with Roman costing Cody the match. So I was thinking way too deep into it, but at the same time, little murmurs go around here and there and everywhere, being like, how are we going to kick someone out of the Judgment Day? And that makes the most sense. One of that team losing, one of those two would be kicked out.
Which two?
Finn and Damian Priest.
Which
in
they're
this
planning
matter.
to see.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
like JD couldn't get kicked out. I'm not saying that Dami. I don't know why you would want to kick him out. He's like,
He's not even
I was gonna say
considered in
JD
yet.
isn't even in it to get kicked out per se. I understand what you're saying,
yeah,
but it's tough because they definitely did the whole JD hit Damian Priest with the briefcase. So like,
Right.
I think ultimately we will land on him not getting into the Judgment Day. It's whether or not Finn leaves.
yes,
The story we're watching unfold is that in front of everybody, Damien is pleased with JD being involved.
right,
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, while Finn is not around and JD's not around, Rhea is talking to Damien in terms of what looks to be trying to help him. But
Yeah.
we also seen her take the Money in the Bank briefcase
Physically
away from him.
Well, and because at this point, the narrative that WWE, even if they haven't really said it out loud, the narrative they're pushing is that she's the leader.
right.
She's the
yes.
decision maker. So whenever it comes to like, should I cash in tonight? If he's 50-50, she's the analytical one who's going to go, no, you're injured, you're banged up, you lost the titles, we're going to regroup, just hang on to the briefcase, give it to me so I can make sure you don't cash in. Like that kind of deal.
Right. And the thing with Damien now is that bringing up why JD's in.
Yeah.
So it's seemingly looking like at some point going to turn into they're going to pick between JD and Damien.
Which would be crazy to me if they pick JD. I don't know why. I don't know why they would go that direction over Damian Priest.
I mean, yes, which it makes for more of a swerve if we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that would lead to.
Well, because there's a difference between swerving for good shock value and actually leading towards good narrative, and then swerving just for swerving.
Like if it was
just to do
Finn,
it.
it'd make sense because you could
Right.
get a Damian Finn feud out of it.
Right.
Because Damien's overpowered. It'd be like Finn trying to overpower the proverbial mountain, in this case of Damian Priest. If Damien gets kicked out, who's a threat for him to feud with?
Well,
You know?
my guess for Damien though, it's not that he would get kicked out, is that he would win cash in
Yeah.
and let himself out
Oh,
and say, you guys weren't wanting me to win this anyway, so I don't need you guys. And that's what would lead to inner feud with Judgment Day against him. And that could be a Finn versus
that would have to be a
Damien.
face turn though, because you can't be a heel champion and not accept
Right.
outside interference help.
Also,
Yeah.
power thought. Mommy took the briefcase.
I
mean-
she's not gonna cash.
Does that mean Dami's getting a treat for winning the
Oh
North
my
American title back?
God, I guess.
Is
So the only thing that I was going to add to this current conversation is not only did Rhea take Senor Money in the Bank briefcase, Damien still has the green Money in the Bank briefcase. So there is a not 0% chance Dom takes Damien's briefcase, cashes in with it. Because you can make that very, like, you never put your name on the contract that's in this briefcase.
Yeah.
Now, I don't foresee how that could happen in the next 9 months, but that was a thought that I had. Because, yeah, Rhea took the briefcase.
Well,
There's
unless-
technically two.
have you seen the green briefcase since they
No.
introduced the purple?
No, it's been
What
completely
I
off
was gonna
TV.
say though
Yeah.
is what if Damien thought this through already and he knew that with Rhea taking briefcase, he already switched the contract back to the green one. And then Dominic trying to cash in is basically confirming to him they would have.
That's what I was gonna say is that it's not the briefcase that matters; it's the contract inside. So if they want to play with the idea of 2 briefcases and a betrayal, you have the idea of the contract is only in one of them. It's wherever Damian put it. He's the only one who's really gonna know.
So Dominic could go down and try and cash in, but there's no contract in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, there it is.
yeah,
I just feel like that wouldn't happen.
It's far-fetched.
The reality is the only way you could successfully do that is do the cash in, hand it to the ref rings the bell, you go through the pin, you even hand Dom the title.
Right.
And then for some reason, because they haven't done this in the past, but like, let's say the ring announcer or one of the commentators opens up the briefcase to take the contract, and there's no contract in it, and they reverse the entire decision, and Adam Pearce comes out and says, this match was null and void, there was no contract involved.
So what you're trying to tell me is Dami would get a treat, but then get it taken away from him?
100%.
That is no world I would want to live in. That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you almost lived in that world when he lost that belt, but he won it back
Nope.
2 days later.
It's a treat. Like,
Yeah.
you think Dami's going to let a treat get out of his cold, meaty hands?
Before Eddie says Dami one more time, let's go ahead and move on. By the way, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso won that match. They are now the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions.
He's the one.
Before we move on to like the wrestling nerd in me things that I really liked, that briefcase spot to the knee,
Great.
that looked excellent. Normally those like fake injury spots don't look good. That looked excellent. Secondly, the 1D into the Cody cutter, my God, that was crispy.
That tag team finisher was insane. And I don't even know that they'll be able to do that all the time, but at least this first time introducing it, kudos to both of them for their timing because they nailed that.
I was wondering, did Jay actually get him off the ground,
Yeah.
or did he keep him in the like half hold?
No, he got him off the ground.
He got
just
him off the
left-
ground, but like how he would normally lift somebody for a 1D, he did like half effort.
Yeah,
So that was more in line with the angle for the Cody cutter.
right.
But it was crispy.
Clean.
So crispy.
Yeah, it was very good. But moving on to the next match, we have the LWO and a mystery third partner versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. And that mystery third partner ended up being Carlito.
Carl.
Lito.
There's no
Carl
reason
Carl.
Carlito could not have been in that match from the start.
Yeah, when they didn't start it from the beginning, they made it look like the 2-on-3 handicap match. I was like, what is the value in having a shock return mid-match versus at the beginning? And the more I thought about it, the more it just didn't make a difference.
When they did the promo where Ray said he was making a call, almost everybody, 90, 95% watched that new.
Yeah.
So the shock factor was already there in Puerto Rico
Yeah.
whenever he came. That was completely under the radar.
Well, and that was the first question that I was going to ask you guys here tonight about that was, is this the full-time return of Carlito we were supposed to get?
I
What
think
people
so.
are saying.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we were originally supposed to get that after the Puerto Rico show, but
That
we
was
didn't.
the whole thing, is that they didn't have creative for him
Yeah.
at that point. And I think from what underlings I'm hearing is that he will start a heel turn
Like the LWO as a group will turn heel?
against Ray.
Oh, away from Rey
Okay, I was about
Mysterio?
to say you have to kick Ray out
Yeah.
Yeah.
and make him a heel.
I could see that being
That'd
the
be
case.
too easy.
I need Ray to stop wrestling.
Why? He's still really good.
He's still pretty good.
He's still pretty good. I need Ray to stop wrestling. Because everything that Rey Mysterio does in the ring, the rest of Phantasma is right there.
So you need him to get out of the way so the group can shine.
Yes.
Like,
Like
the
I
only reason
don't.
they're around is because of him. Type thing. It kind of feels that way.
I couldn't even name the other two guys.
And that's a problem.
I couldn't.
I can name him in NXT. I can't name him now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
Santos Escobar is all I got for you.
yeah, Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio,
Joaquin.
Zelina Vega, and the others.
Joaquin.
El Rey,
Wild.
Del Rey,
Yes.
Phoenix.
He was Raul Mendoza, and then they changed his name. I don't
Wasn't
know what it
Raul
was.
Mendoza the bad guy from Black Ops?
Yes.
Yes. Maybe. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
I
Moving
was going
on.
to say something. No, but I agree. and the aspect of if he gets kicked out of the LWO, what else is he going to do?
Like,
You know,
Needs to be
Yeah.
yeah.
maybe a feud with Carlito, maybe.
Well, yeah, they have to blow that off, and then he could
I
ride off
think
into the
Carlito
sunset.
takes the belt off him.
Yeah.
That'd make the most sense. Oh, Carlito's a champion. I miss Carlito as a champion. He was
Specifically
so
the US
good.
champ. Him and John Cena's legendary feud. John
Yes.
Cena gets stabbed in a nightclub.
Unless Carlito actually steps aside for the younger person and by turning heel helps Santos actually win.
That's the other thing I was thinking. I thought Santos was going to turn heel and take the belt from Ray during their title match. That's what I thought was going to happen, and it didn't.
It's good that they're doing it this way.
The
I like it.
burn,
Yeah.
slow burn,
I
slow
like it.
turn.
But I agree. Ray, once that's over with in LWO, what else can you do with him?
Yeah.
Really?
Let's go to the other side of the coin. God, could I not care less about the almighty Street Profits?
Really, I'm a fan. I don't hate what's going on there. I
I
like
like
heel
'em.
Street Profits.
The part I don't like the whole thing. It was like, prove to me your worth, and then go
Bingo.
be strong for 1 second, and then you lose right away after again.
Is that what yours was?
It's that. I also Bobby Lashley's accolades, let's say, don't match the importance that he's given within the storyline. Like, that's for the sake of this current discussion. Let's take Bobby Lashley out and put in MVP. That works. And not just because of what MVP did before with the Hurt Business, but just like he has the accomplishments to go with it. Bobby Lashley has been main event scene adjacent and only successful because of like one or two one-off situations. So I don't feel like the authority in which he's speaking to the Street Profits really tracks.
So you think the person that should be playing that role for the Street Profits should be more of a managerial role than a
Yes.
like mentor but fellow wrestler role?
Yes. It feels like I'm looking through an hourglass watching a bad Imperium try to take off.
I like him. I think for Bobby's character, he's kind of done everything in the sense of powerful, having someone lead him around type deal, and also trying to get his singles running. I think him being a leader, like an actual leader of a faction without having like someone to talk for him like an MVP is really good for him and can show how well versed he is. And I think it's to the point where if they do it properly, which regardless of a Carlito return, I personally would have liked to see them win last night. I think that could set him up for a world title run. I think once that title is off of Roman, again, play it properly, maybe add a couple more people to the group. Jade Cargill, great example of someone who could and should be added to that group, and also give Rhea a potential run for her money.
That would be a 1-for-1 match head count against the Judgment Day.
Exactly.
Well, have you guys heard the projected rumor of who joined that group?
Of the Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits?
Yep.
No, I haven't.
So there's one name that hasn't been on SmackDown that has been drafted, but it hasn't not. That's Odyssey Jones from.
You got drafted to SmackDown?
Yep.
I don't remember that.
Whether it was
but-
Raw or SmackDown, but I think they
Yeah.
switched it after. But
Okay.
he is the projected fourth member.
I don't know if I like that. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, if we're going to be honest, okay, Odyssey, I've watched him wrestle. He's nothing special, in my opinion. Like, at that point, I'd be like, why don't you just throw Omos back in there? Omos.
First off, chill.
No, I think okay. Odyssey is not a bad wrestler, but at the same time, he doesn't know he's trying to be a face, but like he doesn't know how to be a face, if that makes sense. Like you can tell he's really trying, but in order to try, you also have to project yourself to the crowd, where I feel like he's just pretending like he's projecting himself like in a mirror, the only way he can
Like,
see it.
His best practice mode is what we're getting
Yeah,
to
exactly.
himself in the mirror.
Exactly. I don't. In my opinion, I wouldn't.
I just Googled who Odyssey Jones was, and I didn't even recognize. So
He's in NXT for a little while. He lost to Carmelo Hayes. Another potential name.
Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, another potential name who could be a good.
They already like had a weird thing
Yeah.
with him and Trick whenever they were starting that group.
Well,
where they were
Trick-
talking to him.
Trick
Yeah.
and Carmelo are gonna disband soon, probably.
They already are technically. They're still on good terms.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't need to go on bad terms.
Here's this last thing I got on the Street Profits. Whether they're in a 3-person match with Bobby or just a tag team, give me Bobby Lashley and Omos over the Street Profits any day of the week.
So you just don't like the Street Profits.
No. I like the Street Profits as an act. I love Montez Ford. I love the big guy stuff that Angelo Dawkins gets to do. They need a serious win and a series of serious wins.
Yeah, they're not very credible right now, and
But
I think this is what this run is what they're trying to do is reestablish credibility. They're just doing it through a heel lens.
I loop back to a point that you made at the beginning of the episode. So, said tag teams are being done right now in WWE. We brought this up a few episodes back when we brought up the faction war, and that is what is going down right now.
100%.
A bunch of 4-man groups versing each other. But with the titles being caught up in a main event storyline, it's not giving them anything to actually feel credible for. And that's
Yeah.
where like the Street Profits can look as mean as they want to as a tag team, but with nothing to go against and grasp,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything.
Weird power thought. Could the amount of factions they're trying to build, are they kind of doing like a test run for a trios title?
That's a big rumor right now.
Yeah.
Whenever a TKO group was formally announced, one of the first things that new board of directors / creative control group, one of the first things they talked about was possibly the introduction of a trios title.
It makes the way they're going right now. Oh yeah, a lot of factions makes
Yeah.
sense.
It also gets around your Freebird rule.
My last thought about this tag team situation, though, jumping back to the Cody thing and Cody and Jay winning, do we get the redesigned one?
I think we're going to be asking that about every
I
tag team
know.
that wins until they do. So every time I'm just
The
going to
only
say
reason
yes.
I say that now is because we've actually kind of heard that there is finalized.
I just feel like, and not to say that they aren't per se because they just won the tag titles, but I want redesigned belts to go on a real tag team. I don't need Cody and Jay to be the ones to bring those in.
Son, after that 1D Cody Cutter, they're a real tag team.
Yeah.
They have a
I know
better
what I said.
combined finisher than Pretty Deadly. Granted, Rich Holland destroyed that dude's shoulder, and I'm never going to let that go because how does that happen?
Yeah.
But they have a better tag team finisher than Pretty Deadly, than either of the female tag teams called up, than Alpha Academy, than LWO, than the Street Pro. Like, they have a legit finisher, and it's just the tag team move with Cody's individual move.
Well, do you also believe that they're like still finding it hard to understand whether they're actually going to belts back?
I don't know how they would at this point. I mean, I know how they would. I'm just not sure why they would at this point.
Right.
If you're going to have a trios tag team, we don't need
Raw and SmackDown
we don't
tag
need
team
a regular
belts.
we don't need 2 sets of regular tag belts and 1 trios belt. You can just have the tag belts and the trios belts be for both shows
Yeah,
Right.
I like that more.
and just do that.
So
Yeah.
let's put a bow on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carlito and the LWO won. There you go. After that, the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Champion Io Sky defending against Charlotte Flair and
Asuka.
Asuka. That's
How
who it is. I
Charlotte
forgot
isn't
Asuka's name.
blind at this point from the amount of mist she has taken to her corneas.
I'm just glad Charlotte lost. I didn't care who won as long as
Do
Charlotte
you expect
lost.
her to win?
I always, if there's a title on the line, it doesn't matter how many people are in the match. I expect Charlotte to win at minimum 50%.
No.
I amend my earlier statement about there being nothing bad that you can point at. There was too much talent in the ring for the 3 noticeable missed timings.
Yeah.
Asuka wasn't in place for Io's moonsault.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte and Asuka had a weird spot in the ring, and then immediately after that, the missed timing on the code breaker kind of took me out of the match. I do love that they put Charlotte on the side so we can get Asuka Io on a PLE for an extended period of time before they started doing triple threat stuff.
It was probably one of the more smooth parts of the match.
Correct.
Well, and it's funny you say that because in the group chat with my brothers, one of my brothers texted me during that match and said, "Is it just me or does half this match just seem off?" And I said, 1/3 of this match is off, in reference to Charlotte, because the other two.
That's what I've
Granted, there's a
noticed with all of
language
them.
barrier there, so that could have lent something to it. But
Charlotte adds a level of it just seems slower
yeah,
to the match.
well, it's because it makes sense. Charlotte was trying to wrestle a WWE pro wrestling match, while Io and Asuka were trying to wrestle a pro wrestling match.
Yeah.
From Japan or wherever. Those two were having a different type of match than Charlotte, and Charlotte was able to get her spots in, but wherever she wasn't doing something that was a spot, like the actual wrestling aspects, other than the finish maybe, which is also a spot, like Charlotte's involvement was just not necessary.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not even saying that as a Charlotte hater, because I am a Charlotte hater, but like it wasn't necessarily her fault, but it wasn't not either.
Worst moonsault going in WWE right now, and it has progressively gotten worse every big PLE match that she has. I don't understand how it got worse, but I get it because she's super safe on it, but her moonsaults are terrible.
I mean, she's trying to be safe for mainly her, but for her opponents too.
What's wrong with us getting an Io and Asuka PLE? Is there
There-
something wrong with that?
No.
Like, they can both wrestle very well against each other. I think it's not rocket science to see per what we had gotten with just them two.
They could be just saving that for a bigger pay-per-view like Rumble or Mania.
Also, I don't know if
I'm okay
there's
with that.
there are just certain moves I really like, and Asuka's spinning back fist is one of those moves that just
Yeah.
love that move. And Io taking one of those and the way she sells in general,
Yeah.
I would like to see that more. A lot more.
Ultimately, Io Sky ended up winning and successfully
Pin.
defending her title, walking out with the belt. So we will move on. This was my favorite match of the night. I'm not saying it was the best match of the night, but this was my favorite match of the night. John Cena and LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa of the Bloodline.
I'll let everybody else go.
Yeah.
Crowd interaction,
Yeah,
top notch.
fantastic. They did a great job.
Everyone loved him. John Cena hitting the 5-knuckle shuffle. Everyone loved that.
So this is what I said in that same group chat with my brothers. I said, John Cena looks like someone who grew up a John Cena fan who's getting the opportunity to play John Cena in front of a live crowd.
He had a lot
That's
of
the
fun with it.
5-knuckle Shuffle
Yeah,
spot.
he's doing a caricature of himself, and honestly, I'm here for it.
You can see how much he missed it.
Yeah,
Like, I'm glad he gets to keep doing this.
yeah.
Still what he said at the press conference.
It is what it is.
What'd he say
We
at the
all
press
knew it was
conference?
borrowed time.
Yeah, I mean,
The
it's
SAG
the same
after
thing.
once the SAG after strike ends, he's going back to
It
Hollywood.
was just an
Okay.
immediate, like,
Which we
here's the
knew.
hard
We
line.
knew it was
But
going to be the summer of Cena or whatever. Like, we knew we weren't going to have him for a year, you know? Like, I
Yeah.
didn't expect him by the end of this year even, so...
all I can say is I'm very glad the rub he got, or that LA Knight got, didn't lead match against John Cena, and he got the tag match.
A lot of
Good.
people were afraid of that. It's the other way you put someone over. Because here's the deal. I say that about John Cena being a caricature of himself, but he was fully 100% immersed in the match for the first 5 to 10 minutes. And really, it's the other way you put over a young talent. He gave LA Knight the super hot tag. It's
And
the
LA
way
Knight
you,
was
yeah,
hitting the pot.
100%. But as the John Cena fan with the heavy sigh,
That's literally put that on a t-shirt. That sigh.
yeah,
The match, how it was worked, fine. That's just wasn't anything for me. And I guess maybe because it was too predictable after we had that Cena being in girls for 5-10 minutes, getting beat down. Like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I know that formula from the late 2000s. I know that tag team formula. Cool, fine, whatever. And this may even sound like double speak when I say it, but crowd interaction, great. But LA Knight is starting to get to Cody levels where he can do anything and he's going to get that crowd interaction.
True.
So for me, it didn't add anything to that match.
and maybe it wasn't supposed to. Is the thing.
Maybe it wasn't supposed to.
I would say this was a nice little. This was a. This was. This reminds me of the Garlic Jr. arc in Dragon Ball Z with Goku, or with was it Gohan?
Mhm.
When Goku didn't have anything to do with it and it was just like this little side storyline. I think that's exactly what this was for Jimmy and Solo.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah, Roman was away. We need something for them to do. Here's your foe. Only difference is they lost this. So now we get So now we get to see what Roman does when he returns to a failed bloodline.
I also hate Jimmy and Solo as a team. Like, I just...
Yeah. It is what it is. I mean, I don't think they're
the funniest thing
bad,
about
but-
Jimmy's turn into the bloodline is his theme song completely talks about being.
Yeah.
Doesn't make
Well, not only that, but like, there's been no official word from Paul Heyman or Roman Reigns about him actually being back in the bloodline. We're just working under that assumption until Roman comes back and says something about it. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if this Friday we see them kick Jimmy back out or something like that.
I think we haven't had time to talk about it, but when Jimmy asked for the mic like Roman, and Paul Heyman's like, that.
Yeah.
I loved that. And Jimmy's like, nah, I'm just kidding. And then just rips it out of his hand. I was a big fan. I'm on the point of, why do Solo has to be in a tag team with someone in the bloodline?
He doesn't. I don't think he
to be
has
on a
but-
PLE, he has to be in a tag team.
Solo needs to build his resume one way or another beyond interferences or being in on a losing tag team.
This ain't the
Like,
way to do it.
Solo is stale as a character to me. Jimmy, I understand that we're building towards Jimmy J 40. Cool. Solo's just kind of... Here's I'll give you the biggest problem with Solo Sikoa right now. What does Paul Heyman do beyond talking?
Nothing. That's it.
Okay. Paul Heyman is doing more character work, not talking, than Solo is being in the ring and his mild talking moments. Because when Paul Heyman, the whole pretending he's talking on the phone to Roman for the sake of the storyline, Paul Heyman coming out with white hair instead of his normal dyed black hair to signify the stress that he's feeling from Roman not being there. His character's evolving. Solo's been here.
You just lower that hand a little bit. He's been like down here, but go ahead.
Give him a program. You don't have to put up. You don't have to give all of a mid-card title. Just give him a program. Give him somebody to absolutely smash for 8 weeks in conjunction with the bloodline stuff, because you don't have to give him any more dedicated TV time to just smash somebody for 2 months. But he's the enforcer, and the only thing he's enforced is taking out AJ Styles.
Well, let's touch on one other thing too, dude.
Yeah.
You took out. He's the reason Roman won at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would you put? Okay, the Brock thing.
Spit it out.
Maybe
Yeah.
we had something going on there.
Here's my thing about Solo. He is the enforcer, not of the bloodline. He is Roman Reigns' enforcer.
Right.
The best thing that they could have done to build value on Solo was to take him off of TV with Roman and return with Roman.
Yes.
Then he's actually.
It's not even about that. Yes, that is it. But when you have the opportunity to build someone up and instead you make them stagnant or make them worse, versus you take them off TV, it's a little mysterious. Where's Solo? And then when Roman shows up, Solo also shows up. It's like, oh, Solo is really important with Roman, because it starts to lead credence to the fact that even while Roman was gone, you could play off the storyline that Solo was with him, enforcing whatever Roman needed enforced off camera too. It would literally build value in his character in that role of this faction by having him off TV. And then what you could have done is you could have Jimmy still trying to do this whole I think I'm in the bloodline but I'm not. Paul Heyman working deals with the Judgment Day the way he is, but not matches being involved, and Jimmy the whole time showing up being like, what's up, OG? What do we got going on with the Judgment Day, trying to worm his way back in. And then by the time Roman and Solo comes back, they show a pact with the Judgment Day. Jimmy shows up, and the first thing Judgment Day does is take out Jimmy. Whole thing right there they could have done, and they just didn't.
Or you make Jimmy, this is another thing that I thought of too. Make Jimmy try to go on this little singles run, still try to worm his way in Judgment Day, loses, Solo goes into the I'll do what you're supposed to be doing role.
Oh, yeah.
Goes on a tear and beats everyone that Jimmy can't beat.
Yeah,
that was another thing I thought
you
of.
Put over Solo by having him take out who
Exactly.
Jimmy couldn't. That's smart
All
too.
Jay's on a high, Jimmy going
Above the
You
even
put
could
Solo in a cleanup role.
exactly. It's like they booked the man right if you're gonna bring him up in 6 months, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I could.
The simplest answer, and it wasn't gonna happen because he wanted to work with LA Knight. John Cena and Solo is right there.
And dude, they've been
It's
teasing.
so easy.
They've
You
been
don't even
teasing it
have
for
to
weeks.
have Solo talk. It's just there. Hey, John Cena just have a mic and Solo's just looking at him. And John Cena goes, okay, all right, dude, I'm back, but you clearly have a problem with me. What's your problem? And then all you do is have Solo point to the Titantron of John Cena choking out his dad with the ropes to win that match. And then you're just, it's
More
going.
deep than
You
I
know
thought
what
it'd
that
go.
feud reminds me of, right? It
Go ahead.
speaks volumes. It's Umaga and John Cena.
What do you say?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Can't take your thumb like
on to
him
the
and
next
lose.
thing before I get upset about Solo
okay.
being underutilized.
Well, all right. Well, our main event of the night, the only singles match of the night, Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Banger.
It was a good match. I really
No,
enjoyed
I'm
it.
kidding about the
Clayton,
banger
what
part.
did you not like about the match?
Well, we didn't hear Zach's opinion yet. I
Oh,
want to
okay.
get all the positivity in the room out.
Oh, okay. So you want to make sure we build up before you tear down. You
Yes.
don't want to tear down so we can build up off of it.
Yes,
Okay. Well, then go
specifically
ahead.
with this match.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, for me, is I genuinely hear your guys' thoughts because I don't see any true bad points to it, but I don't necessarily give praise to it.
It was a decent last man. Yeah. It was a decent last man standing match in the terms of like them going around the arena, and the finish was pretty good. But last man, the way that they did the last man standing match was, I have a criticism about that match the same way that I have the criticism about most ladder matches, which is the slow crawl up the ladder, and then if someone like misses their spot, or sometimes even when they don't, it's just like you're just swiping in a belt.
Too far.
Last man standing does the same thing, where at 9 you just kind of like toddler waddle your way to your feet, and the ref's like, he's up, and then you just fall
Falls
back
back
down.
over.
Like it's
There's only one falls count anywhere. Last man standing match that I've really enjoyed in history, and It was Foley and Rock.
Oh,
That was mine.
I was
The
gonna
really,
say-
really enjoyed.
I was gonna say John Cena versus Batista. And then the duct tape. Are you serious? That's such a good promo. Sorry.
But another thing that real quick, I don't like seeing a special, just anything special happen twice in one night. I don't like seeing mist happen twice in one night. And that's
Yeah.
just maybe a personally,
you did have
that's-
to make it blood red.
no, that's also kind of an Asuka thing right now. Like, if we're going to do mist, maybe let's not have Asuka do it.
So before I launch about the match, I will say it's actually a Japanese wrestler thing.
No, I know it's Muda.
So I'm fine with him using mist and the intended effect of, oh, it looks like blood during the last man standing match. We don't have blood. It worked, but who the hell cares?
Because it's Shinsuke.
Who the hell cares?
Sleeping Beauty
about
can go back to
this
sleep.
dude versus this dude for Seth's belt in the main event? Who the hell cares? Shinsuke is not winning the belt. If he couldn't beat AJ Styles for the belt at WrestleMania,
In his
he's
prime.
not beating Seth Rollins at Fastlane for the belt. And that match, once again, should not have been the last match on the PLE.
That's also probably Shinsuke's last main event match ever
Well,
in WWE.
One of the things I said.
And just
World title match.
to hammer
World title
home,
match.
before
Yeah.
I want to hear what you have to say.
Go ahead.
My feed on Peacock cut out after the table spot. Like, they went back into the ring, and my whole TV froze up, didn't come back on, and I didn't care to turn it back on. I know Seth's winning. I know they're not doing a cash in. That's the first match on the card. If that's the first match on the card, that is a B plus A minus match to me for how they worked the last man standing match. But I sit through these better matches of substance, even if I have disagreements like with how they were worked and the people involved and things of that nature, just to end with that.
Well, you also have to grade it on the main event curve. You don't grade your main event on the same curve you grade other matches. It's the main event curve.
I'm also going to...
But
Look, Shinsuke was not winning. I totally understand that. That wasn't going to happen. They wanted to give him a main event push, but not have him win.
he will never win a world title in WWE.
No, he
if
won't.
He didn't win that match. He will never win a world title in WWE.
And he's probably never going to have a world title match again, if I'm going to be honest.
yeah.
The other thing that I don't know if it's just me, I don't know if it's anyone else, Seth Rollins, when he was in the Authority, that I really went out of my way to watch those world title matches. Those
Yeah.
where I'm like, yes, I want to see what happens between him and even him and Kane. I'm like, I want to see what happens, whatever it may be. Since he won the world title,
Mm-hmm. No one's cared about this.
no,
world
I
title
don't
run.
care. Him as a heel, I'd probably care more about. Maybe. Like, there are certain face people where it's like, I really want to see them with a world title, and I really do care with them about them with a world title. He also just hasn't been getting good matchups opponent-wise.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about Shin, at least as an opponent for Seth, because I agree with you that with an asterisk. I agree that if Shin didn't win the title against AJ at WrestleMania, he wasn't going to win it. The asterisk I'm going to put on is face Shinsuke. If face Shinsuke didn't win that match, then we're never going to have a face Shinsuke world champion. Heel Shinsuke, which is almost an entirely other character,
Mm-hmm.
he
Yes.
still had a chance. I truly believed that
The
we
biggest
could get,
chance.
I truly believed we could still get a Shinsuke Nakamura heel world title run out of this feud. This was the same match as the AJ match. If heel Shinsuke did not win this match, he's never going to have the world title.
Yes, very, very much
That's
agree.
the same. That's that parallel. That's, to me, those were the same moments in his career and the same results and outcomes or happened. You know, that, at least in my opinion.
Okay.
You're arguably, in both situations, wrestling the best wrestler in the world.
At the time.
Yes, and I think...
So I would ask the group, assuming this program's done between Shinsuke and Seth,
Hopefully it is.
what did Seth Rollins gain positively from this feud?
the fact that he's still champion.
Those are okay. I would say the main thing they got was an out for this title run. And by that, I mean this whole back injury angle has been exposed. And the reason why I think that's positive for Seth is because once he loses this belt, he can finally take time off because he needs to. So it's not a positive in terms of it built his character properly and he's elevated and he got something out of this feud. But I think it's a positive that we have this lingering background storyline that Seth Rollins can use in any of his feuds moving forward, which is this lingering back injury. You can fall on that to be an excuse on why he loses. It doesn't make his character weak, and he can take off time to either go get that fixed or at least rest up so that he can handle it better.
Well, let me ask this.
Yeah.
Real quick side question, because it's probably going to seem like a joke. But with the pending rumor, drivers here,
Okay.
and why things that they throw into every single Seth Rollins promo of CM Punk,
Yeah.
you think him winning the belt and keeping it was just to get to that?
I don't, only because Survivor Series is in Chicago, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Please no.
The only reason I don't think that is because I didn't think of that. Like I truly, because I
We
stay
never
away
really get title matches on Survivor Series anyway. But
yeah, I stay away from rumors. I didn't really know there was a big push for Punk to come back at Survivor Series. I kind of connected those dots live here on camera.
Please no.
I wouldn't necessarily be fully against that, only because
Punk shirt.
of the pop and all that, especially if you're going to do it in Chicago. I just think that there's no direction for that. Like there's not really a proper direction to go from that other than if they let Punk keep it through Mania and he gets his main event so he can stop whining. That's about it.
Look, me saying this in a CM Punk shirt, by the way. I love that.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a bad wrestler. I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler. I'm very entertained by him as a wrestler. His controversy and why people are like, maybe a better way of putting it. You saw what he just did in a promotion where he's like in a promo when he came back said, I did not wrestle from X period to Y period, which is when he was in the WWE.
Yeah. He went out of his way to say I was not wrestling during that time.
I think he is, and I think we can agree, again, me in a CM Punk shirt, me going back to my childhood with a "In Punk We Trust" flag on my wall, saying he is a liability to any wrestling company he is in.
He's he, in his current mindset and antics, is a problem. I'm not going to say full-blown cancer, but he is a problem. And if he can't address those things within himself before jumping into a promotion, then he will continue to run into this problem he's running into.
I don't care about all that. He'll either show up or he won't show up.
He's going to show up.
Yeah.
I would imagine he's going to show up because there's too much money to be made. I wouldn't even be mad at a swerve at Survivor Series and instead he comes out at the Rumble. But I don't care about all that because back to what I was saying about Seth, while I understand your point about it giving Seth something to fall back on, Seth's character between right now, or everything up to now, since he won the belt to now, and then until he loses the belt, there isn't enough substance there. When I asked, hey, who actually, what did he take positive out of this?
Yeah.
I don't really see that as a positive because it looks like this 2-month program was just to enhance Shinsuke for like that one last big run. Seth stands in the ring, lets people sing along to his music, laughs at people, and he'll have the vignettes here and there that don't really match the other aspects of his character. But unlike, say, a Roman Reigns, if Roman is on TV every week for 7 straight weeks, those 7 weeks are compelling.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is not compelling with Seth Rollins. I know
it isn't.
It's a McDonald's cheeseburger. I know what it is. There's going to be some Mondays where I'm like, I like this cheeseburger. But right now, the cheeseburger's been sitting out for 90 days, and I'm
The thing is, at least in my opinion, the thing about Seth's character in general is when you look at the ups and downs that a character can have, this being like the lowest of lows and this being the highest of highs, a lot of wrestlers are going to see this like up and down amongst the whole scale. Seth has gotten to a point in his career where that floor is pretty much up here now, and he's only going to do this. Like, even his worst days are a lot better than others. So when you look at it like that, I kind of see why he's willing to, even though he's going in as champ, be the back burner of, because if you look at the entire feud over the last 3 to 4 weeks between his last title defense against Shinsuke and this one, Shin was in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? Like, and he is at that point in his career where, because he's never going to go lower than this line on the entire scale, he can afford to be the back burner guy. He can afford to be the guy on his heels, because it's 100% always believable that he will just bounce back at this point. In my opinion, I don't know if you guys think that he
like, there's always, anytime he's been in a world title picture or even close to the main event picture, he is depicted as overpowered, I will say. Or not even overpowered. Playing the mental card the right way.
He's always been presented as physically resilient. He can take punishment.
Right. And he does that very well. But there's never been a time since he lost at WrestleMania against AJ where I've been like, he's going to win that world title. Not even after.
Yeah.
Which I was hoping. I was wrong. And not this time. Then. This time, I'm like, there's absolutely no possible way.
Yeah.
No chance. 100% chance Seth was going into that pay-per-view and winning.
To your point about his valley, if you will, be not that far from his peak, I was reading something earlier today that perfectly encapsulated Seth Rollins. If Seth Rollins doesn't have a main title belt, we're clamoring, frothing at the mouth to see him win it.
Yeah, he's a chaser.
And then once he wins it, I can't wait to see him drop it.
It's Dolph Ziggler syndrome. You want to watch him chase the belt, and then once he gets it, it's a little bit more, well, what now? Because we wanted to see you win it. We got our moment, and now we're bored.
I agree with that statement when
he's heel, it's not so much.
It's a little different because it adds more. Right now, it's the same thing with what Clayton said. Oh, I'm going to laugh at you. You're funny to me. I'm going to sing my song in your face, and then I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
I thought of a really good comparison to his title runs.
It's a Roman level of arrogance, but without the cachet of beating Brock Lesnar 3 different times at WrestleMania.
How many times did he beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? At least once.
Once.
But not, to your point, not 3 times, but he has at least once, which is more than most people could say.
It's like and hear me out on this one, and I'll give you the explanation. It's like a Kurt Angle type of world title run. I'm glad you have it. I'm really glad.
Careful.
Hold on. That's why I'm saying hear me out. That's why I'm saying hear you out.
Yeah.
I'm glad you won the title. The win was awesome. I'm really glad you have this title, but I know you're not going to have that title for a while, and I know you have this title to put someone else over.
Are you saying Kurt Angle
in 2000 world title run? Different. Much different.
Got it.
Every world title run after to put someone else over.
Yes. The answer to that question is yes.
He's calling Kurt Angle a transitional champion by career.
Yes. Correct.
How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with
it too. That's
traditional
kind of
champions because
he's still a top 10 competitor of all time.
Yeah.
he is a top 5 wrestler to step from a technical standpoint in terms of the things that he can do, the things that were asked of him, the things that he was willing to do, a la giving Shane McMahon permanent brain damage so that he named his son Declan. And with all that money, he goes to the University of Indiana.
Yeah. Is what it is, man.
But
he can turn a tombstone into an angle.
Fastlane.
Well, we have some time if anyone wants any last minute Fastlane stuff, or we got some time.
WWE made the best copy and decision of the last 30 years by having post PLE press conferences. They have been excellent
them.
quality, and
Yeah.
today was just like yesterday was an A plus 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 plus, just off of Jay and Cody. I have
my
watched that
God.
15-minute segment 4 different times, and it's funny every single time.
I loved that part, but I also loved John Cena knowing and understanding his stroke and his rub in the placement of WWE by just going, "Shut up, Byron. We could take 2 or 3 more questions," and then just doing it. And you could see, I knew whoever was next was gonna get the hook early, and they tried with EO and damage control, and then Bailey was like, "Byron, there's like 20 more questions. Like, please give us 1 or 2 more."
Outside of that Taylor Swift question, waste of time.
Jesus Christ.
Waste
Whoever
of
that
time.
was. And by the way, and I know you're watching because we're very popular.
Taylor.
Whoever that was like, "That's right, I'm the guy bringing up Taylor Swift." Shut up. Sit down. Stop. Don't go to those press conferences anymore.
You're a real life reporter, and in that same segment, right after that stupidity, an NBA player asked a better, concrete, constructive question about the business and about the characters than you did.
You had a 1 in a million chance lifetime, like once in a lifetime opportunity to ask a champion of the WWE a question, and you blew it on that. And by the way, I'm a Swiftie. I love T Swift and her music. I think that people that are upset with her about the attention she's getting from the NFL are a little weird about it. I don't think that she should be getting the hate that she's getting about the NFL because she's just a girlfriend attending her boyfriend's games. Leave her alone. You should be mad at the NFL network, not at Taylor Swift, if you're upset by how much coverage she's getting. But all that aside, don't waste your time during conferences asking about dumb shit like that.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a tangent.
No, it's okay. Even if she is milking it for more money, honestly, good on her. She's
How?
getting money.
What
I said
money does she
even
get
if.
out of that?
I said even if.
Yeah, but there's no if.
She
There's-
More-
is
no,
adjective
yeah.
Beyonce. She doesn't need to milk anything.
She has a movie coming out. Actually, she's turned some NFL people over to being a
Apologies
Swiftie.
to my editor that I couldn't make it any more
Her
PC than
tickets
that.
for one concert is more than Travis Kelce's salary. That's it. That's all.
Why is that bad? She's
Yo,
successful at what she
I'm
does.
done talking about
I know.
this.
That's
No,
what I'm saying, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no. I can. If we want to start a sports podcast, comment down below.
I'll
We
start
can
a
talk
Taylor
about that.
Swift podcast.
No, we won't
Comment-
do that.
I
My
said
favorite it's very ironic I'm saying this, but my favorite part about the press conferences is that we get answers that are not as necessarily, or questions that are not necessarily by WWE. minus that
you
one.
can tell they're not. They
That's what
straight
I'm
up went,
saying.
"How do you feel about Edge going to AEW?" They didn't
Right.
use those
Triple
words, but
H's part in the press conferences have been
great.
one of the coolest parts because he gets to just let out answers
Yeah, I
that
was
he doesn't
saying-
normally get to talk about.
He rambles though. He does need to listen, Trips, because I know you're watching. You need to trim those answers down a little bit. We're going to bed, bud, here in the Midwest. It's like 10 or 11. We got work no, it's Saturday. But still, trim it down. Let's get these answers, let's do a little bit better.
I also like the fact, well, like and dislike. There's certain things I like, certain things I dislike. AEW does something, Trips, Vince, whoever does it, says, "Hey, we're gonna do that, but better," and they do
Than
it
the
better.
media scrums or whatever.
Yeah, they do it much better,
Their media
and
scrums
this is
aren't bad, but
this
yeah,
is
the press
this is
conferences
much
are better.
better in terms of you don't need CM Punk to verbally assault your VPs in order to have people tune in type of vibe.
Yeah.
People are just genuinely interested
And
in
putting over local muffin shops.
yeah, exactly. And I don't understand that one actually.
Then you didn't watch the first bloodied CM Punk. You didn't watch
No, I didn't.
the night that he got suspended the first time, the night that he got into a fight and got bit by whoever or whatever that first time he got
Yeah.
suspended. During the press conference, he was sitting there, blood on his face, but he was eating a muffin, and he started putting over the local muffin shop that he got.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
But I think they're doing really well in that aspect. I'm seeing a lot of WWE. One, free agents are fair game. Jade Cargill, free agent.
Yeah.
Apparently,
AEW talent is
apparently
also fair
Tony
game.
offered her a lot more money than he even
Same.
wanted to.
Yeah.
And
She
she
still said no.
and she still left for less.
Yeah.
They
So-
traded Edge for Jade, and you won't convince me otherwise.
That's basically what they did.
WWE won that trade. too.
Yes.
They did win that trade, absolutely. The thing I don't like doesn't even have to do with either promotion. It's the frickin' marks everywhere who are like, haha, AEW sucks. They need to die and
Yeah,
all
those
this.
people need to chill
I'm
out.
like, dude,
AEW has
competition's
its role.
good. It's great. It makes fandoms better.
Yeah.
Having AEW and WWE competition is great. One can totally be doing better than the other, which I basically just said I think WWE is doing better than AEW. That's not going to change, in my
No.
opinion, anytime soon. Doesn't mean I don't respect the other product. It's great.
I just remember how much we talked about the quote unquote Wednesday Night Wars when that first started.
Yes.
Um,
You're going to beat NXT like that.
yeah, I was gonna say AEW touted a really big flag for a long time about beating WWE's developmental program,
That's
and good for them, I guess. And then they hired everyone from said program and show, and now they're all on AEW. So,
Yep. So you won.
yeah,
You won Wednesday. The other
Any
6
other
days.
Final and Fastlane thoughts, fellas. I got
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Good
Thoughts?
quality pay-per-view.
No thoughts.
Yeah.
Say your thoughts.
That's what I'm doing. Good quality. Do you want me to say my thoughts right now?
Thoughts, go ahead.
Good quality pay-per-view for not one of the core four.
Yeah,
Have really good stuff, and with a limited amount of matches, especially.
only 5.
Yeah,
And only one
great.
of them was singles.
And your main event being the worst match to me. Good. Worst to me. Mark's.
Yeah.
Mark.
Who's Mark? Why are you yelling at that guy?
Mark needs to just shut
Zach,
up.
final thoughts?
What I said in the beginning, good filler.
Yeah. Clayton, final thoughts? You want to send us out of here?
Best paced PLE. I'm not saying every PLE should have 5 matches, but god damn is 8 or 9 matches too many.
Yeah.
Like, get in, get out. If it's not a big 4, get in, get out. You get a reasonable amount of my home time, and I can, like, do stuff still. I don't need to be watching a PLE that stretches past 11, stretches past midnight. And yes, because I watched from the beginning, so, like, from the very beginning, like, even
Yeah,
the pre-show.
I did too.
Like, come on, 5 hours, wrap it up.
I think my final thought about this PLE was I really liked that there wasn't really a bathroom match.
Yes.
It was not a bathroom match. Even the main event, for as not amazing as it was, I wasn't gonna go to the bathroom.
Didn't get up.
So-
I said, who the hell cares? But I was watching until it froze up, and then I didn't have a reason to watch anymore.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that has been our Fastlane 2023 recap. Thank you guys for joining us. Eddie, why don't you go ahead and hit us with the socials one time?
That you never hit us with at the beginning of the episode,
Yeah,
like you're
you're
supposed
supposed
to.
to do
no
that,
one
and you
ever
forget.
no one ever asks
You
at the
forget?
beginning of
No,
the
no,
episode.
no, we don't ask here.
Yeah, that's
we
your
dictate.
responsibility. Even if
Literally
I
your
forget-
job, your only job.
Even if
the
I
only
forget,
job you have,
you're
dude.
supposed to be like, hey, before you get
Hey,
started.
can you
socials.
shut up real quick? And fine.
I'm learning a new method of team management at my job where I just keep telling you that you're doing it wrong and make no other adjustments.
That's why you're getting a promotion. He's not. That's the joke. So the socials are Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and you can tune into us each and every week on Spotify and Apple Music.
And
And
Podbean.
I almost said something I would have regretted.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you soon.
Joining you like this is your podcast. Look at this fucking guy. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm the host, but I'm not going to sit in the host chair. My name's Randy, and I have missing intestines, and I just love Shawn Michaels. Fuck you.
We haven't cut yet, right?
Can you-
Shawn Michaels is
come here.
overrated, by the way. Do you
Come
want to
here.
talk about that?
Look, I'm going to go ahead and reintroduce the world of Clayton's underrated list real quick. Number one. I was gonna do it. I was gonna do the whole bit and redo Clayton's underrated list. And now, number one, Undertaker.